How do you think about your kids, Chamath? Because you got to do this gambling when you were young. Didn't that help you ultimately as an adult?
I mean, I ran a casino in my high school.
Was that the?
Yeah, I mean, I ran a little blackjack game where the rich kids could play, and I was the house, and I would make a few extra $100 a week.
Nice.
And that was great because, like, between that and my job at Burger King, it really helped. And then I would go and take that, and I actually became pretty decent at blackjack. And I would go, there would be these what's called charity casinos. So casinos in Ottawa, Ontario, were illegal, but if they were to raise charity for various charities, they were allowed. And so my friend and I would show up at these things and just run them over.
Anybody else run an illegal business as a kid? I'll tell you about mine after. Zach, do you run any illegal businesses as a kid?
No comment.
Come on, it's statute of limitations. What did you do? You must have been running some scams. Come on, tell us. I'll tell you my 2 scams after you tell us yours.
Oh, by the way, I'll tell you, I had a bad debt situation in my lunch game. I used to let people bet up to $1. Okay, so 4 or 5 guys up, 25 cents, 50 cents, or $1. And one guy, he like demanded an expanded credit line. And so I gave him up to $2. And
how many boxes of ziti did he go down?
And one lunch, he lost $80, and it took me 3 months to get paid. It was the worst
80
experience.
Boxes of ziti?
I had to, no, $80. I had to.
No, I know. I'm just doing a soprano.
I had to sweat this guy for 3 months to get my $80. He was rich too. His parents were rich.
What did he do? Did he have to do your term papers or something? Did he have to do your essays? Clean your bike?
I wouldn't have gotten this.
Come on, Zach, give it up. What was your scam you were running as a kid?
Let's move on.
I had 2 scams. Freeberg, you have a scam when you were running when you were a kid? Any scams?
I used to go to the recycler newspaper. Do you guys remember that?
Yeah.
The recycler. And I would buy used like electronics equipment, computer equipment, and then I would like sell it. So I would then like post other ads. I basically did ad arbitrage as a way to think about it. So I would go and find people selling stuff that I thought was like underpriced.
But did you
I would buy it. And there was nothing to fix. It was underpriced. And then I knew like the better market to go sell it at and make more money. So then I'd buy like all these like old like
a broken receiver,
Discman and a receiver, good speakers that I knew were good, but they were like deeply discounted. I'd drive around in my white van. I'd pay people cash. I'd load it up, and then I go sell it to like other people by putting ads in.
No wonder you wound up at Google. I had 2 really good scams when I was a kid. The first was this guy owed my dad some money for backgammon. My dad was a backgammon shark, and he would play in his bar. When I would show up at 6 a.m, my dad would be playing blackjack with guys. They would get, in deep with him. And so this guy who was in the mob owed my dad some money. And for the VIG, he gave him a copy of The Empire Strikes Back on VHS. And I was like, what? This is before it was out. They had recorded it in the movie theaters in 1984 or something, 83, whenever that came out. And it was a really bad copy. So my dad comes home, he gives me the copy. We watch it. It was incredible. It's like, thanks, Dad. And I got my friend to bring over his VHS. I made 10 copies of it. I go to school, McKinley Junior High School in Brooklyn, and I sell them for $30 a pop.
Oh my God.
Selling like hotcakes. And then I get pinched. Math teacher says, what's going on with these Empire Strikes Back? And I said, what do you mean? I don't know what you're talking about. He's like, I heard you got Empire Strikes Back.
He kept your mouth shut.
Yeah. I looked him dead in the eye and I said, are you interested? And the teacher goes, yeah. How much are they? I said, $30, but I'll give you one for 10. And he said, okay. He pulled out $10. I sold my math teacher, I kid you not, The Empire Strikes Back for $10.
Can you do this whole thing again, but in the Christopher Walken voice?
I'm not going to, but I'll give you the other one I did.
No, it's the Joe Pesci voice.
Do this one in the Christopher Walken voice.
And so the name of it was Jason's Hot Tapes. And so I made a business card and laminated Jason's Hot Tapes, and I would hand it to people, and I'd hand them the Jason's Hot Tape card, and they'd say, give me my card back. But I would just show them that I had a card.
Oh, that reminds me. I was also in the fake ID business.
Ooh, say more.
Yeah, I grinded out fake IDs with a buddy of mine.
All right, that was mine.
Oh, Zach was in the fake ID business too?
We used Harvard Graphics. Zach, what were you using? I was using Harvard Graphics.
Well, this was in the days
Photoshop,
before
PageMaker?
holograms, and it just wasn't that hard to, copy. So we just made like boards or whatever and Polaroids. So we did it for ourselves and we did it for friends.
Yeah, same.
Here's the thing about the fake ID business. The bouncers were like, if you've got money, show us any piece of paper
They
So
knew.
we have plausible.
They knew.
We have plausible
That's right. They
deniability.
just wanted plausible deniability.
Exactly.
That's exactly right.
That's the key to the racket. Did you put McLovin in University of Hawaii?
Yeah. Actually, well, it's kind of funny is sometimes the bouncers would go, "What's your name?" And you'd be like, you'd be stumped because you didn't remember what was
so
on there.
drunk you don't even remember. You're like, my name is
Mine was like, my name was like, no, mine was like Raj Patel.
My name is Raj Patel.
Or they'd ask you, "What was your birthday?" And you don't remember what's on your ID.
Yeah,
you don't know what's on your ID because
I
it's
don't
fake.
remember. I don't remember. You know, the key.
I had one drink.
Now, the key in the fake ID game is to use your month and day that's yours,
Yes.
and then
Right.
just change the year.
Yes.
That's the key.
That's the key. All right, so I'll give you the second one.
Do
This
it in the
one was-
Christopher Walken voice.
So my friend, his brother had a DeLorean. I can't do it. I can't sustain it. Anyway, this kid, who I grew up with, I shouldn't say. Anyway, his name was beep that out. He lived up on 13th Avenue. I go to his house. His brother's got a DeLorean. It was incredible. And we're in junior high school. And I'm talking to his brother. And I go into the garage and there's all DeLorean parts on the wall. And I said, "Why do you have all these parts?" And he said, "Oh, there was a DeLorean that, fell apart and we picked up the pieces." They had stolen another DeLorean because DeLorean stopped producing and they just chopped it up, but he had it in his garage. So anyway, we're playing Chess Master at the time and I had hacked a copy of Chess Master. It was very easy to do. And the guy said, "You got Chess Master? Can you get me more copies of that?" I said, "Sure. How many copies you want?" He's like, "How many can you make?" I was like, "Well, floppy disk costs $4. He's like, "I'll give you $10 a copy of Chess Master." I said, "Fine." I go with my friend. We go steal floppy disks from the store. So we didn't want to pay the $4 for them.
Not the 3.5s, the 5 1/4s.
These are 5 1/4s.
5
And
1/4s.
we go into the store and we take the flyer and I hold the flyer open and I hold it behind my back and my friend takes the discs out of the sleeve at Staples or whatever, dumps them in there. We made copies of it. And then we were selling Chess Master for $10 a pop at scale and giving them to the guys on 13th Avenue who were then reselling them for $20. This is when Chess Master was like a $100 product. Shout out to Chess Master. But that was my second scam business.
This is some degenerate
Yeah. And that's not even the best one. I'll give you the best one. This is the best, and I'll give you the last scam we ran. There were parking permits in the late 80s in Manhattan. They were hard to get, but they were legit. If you had a parking permit in your window for the fire department, police, you could park in Manhattan in a lot of different areas. And so we went and we took a picture of these. Then we got on PageMaker or whatever. And I went down to Canal Street and I bought at Pearl Paints, like the same color orange and that lamination kit. And we got on Photoshop. I kid you not, we held the picture up and we tried to figure out the fonts they used. And we made a copy of the placards to park. And then we sold those for like $50 and people used them and they wouldn't get tickets. They worked. So we sold police placards that had to be super illegal in 1988.